The following program was paid for by Templar Real Estate. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WMTR. As always, it is advisable to consult a professional before making a major decision. It's time now for the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. Here's your host for the program, Joseph J. Zoppi.
Hello, welcome to the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. My name is Joseph J. Zoppi, a real estate investor, consumer advocate, author, and managing partner of Templar Real Estate Enterprises. You can reach us at templarcashforhouses.com. That's TEMPLAR cashforhouses.com. Or you can call us at 973-240-8593 and we could answer any questions you may have, or you could email us from our website, again, for any questions you may have or a topic that you would like discussed on this radio show. For first-time listeners, my company is a real estate investment firm. We buy houses for cash. We purchase apartment buildings. We do joint ventures with other real estate investors. We loan money for rehabs and provide transactional and gap funding as well. We work with individuals that want to invest with us in single-family houses up to apartment buildings. We do not speculate, and we're very protective of our money and our investors' money. I'm not a brokerage and I'm not a real estate agent, but we have individuals on staff that are agents that could sell your house through the traditional multiple listing service. This show is going to go over everything there is about real estate and those things that impact real estate. We'll talk about our rehabs, some of our investments, what went well, what did not go well, and how we learned from it. We'll talk about the economy and interest rates, and we'll discuss trends in the real estate market. Real estate is one of your biggest investments, so it's important you know as much as possible about it. I'm going to provide you with my opinion. It's only my opinion. I ask everyone to do lots of research, whatever the case may be, whether it's a service, a store that you want to deal with, whatever the case is, do good research, do a lot of research, because there's a lot of noise out there, so it's sometimes hard to determine what's good, what's bad, and especially like even with reviews. Sometimes you might get a couple bad reviews for a particular individual, but really it's really not that bad. Sometimes I look at it and I see the individual and I look at their reviews and like everyone is negative, so you could discount that one, if every single one is negative. So that's just something you have to look at. Also, again, with news articles, you got to understand what the point of view of the author is. It's very hard to find a article that's very well balanced. Sometimes you get them, but a lot of times you don't. So just be wary of that. I'd like to do a shout out to some of my listeners. Paulette, the crossing guard from Livingston, as well as Tim from Cedar Grove, as well as Rich and John as well. I'd like to also thank my private investors. I have Nick and Cheryl, so I'd like to thank both of them as well, and all our private investors that work with us. One of the things when we bring on investors, one of the things that's very important to us is that we want to bring on individuals that we also want to be friends with, So if we really don't like them, we don't want to bring them on as investors. We don't care about the money that much. We want to have a good relationship with that person. We want them to see eye to eye with us and what we're doing, how we're doing it. And that's extremely, extremely important to us. So the money is not near as important as the relationship. We are a relationship business, and that's what we do, and that's what we drive on. And we're here to help and establish relationships, good, positive relationships. If you want to sell your house fast for cash, please give us a call. Again, we get a lot of calls from someone that says, I need to sell quick. We are more than happy to work with you on it. And if you don't have to sell quick, we'd be more than happy to list it through the traditional multiple listing service. We buy houses in New Jersey. So some of the areas we buy in Verona, we buy in Cedar Grove, we buy in Long Branch, we buy in Deal, we buy in Cape May, we buy in Wildwood. So we buy from the top of Jersey all the way down to Cape May. So that's our area. We have been buying a little bit in New York, and just it happened more so by just happenstance. So we were advertising on the TV, and the geographic location it covers is also New York City, the five boroughs, Staten Island. So as a result of it, I don't want to throw away any good leads and any potential possibilities in terms of acquiring houses. So we're doing some in New York. We're also joint venturing with one of my friends, great guy out of Long Island. So we're going to do a few. I think one's in a couple are in Bronx right now, and maybe one in Brooklyn. So uh, we're excited for that as well. Again, if you need a cash buyer, please call Templar. We'd be more than happy to work with you. It doesn't matter how the house is, we buy as is. Please remember that. So it could be as dilapidated as one could be. We've bought houses with 2 or 3 feet of water in it. So we were going to buy a house, but it didn't go through where there was a flood and a minivan went into the foundation. It was like half in the house of the basement. So it was crazy. I wish I had pictures of it. I have to find them. I post them on my Facebook. So it was pretty crazy. It was a bad flood. It happened really quick, and it was crazy how the minivan got lodged and went through the cinder block of the basement, and it was half in the basement. It was really wild. I think it was also on the news and stuff. It was crazy. Also, as I've said for the past 2 months, and I'll continue to say it, anything with loan mods or refis because of mortgage forbearance, please give us a call. Be more than happy to work with you on that and give you some guidance. There's no charge to it. Please be more than happy to help you guys out. Also, if you're interested in investing with us, go to www.investwithtemplar.com. Again, that's www.investwithtemplar.com. Just fill out the form, and we could set up a meeting. One of the things that we're going to be doing, and I said it a couple weeks ago, is that we're establishing a fund, and you can invest in it. The I don't know the interest rate right now, the return. It's probably going to be somewhere around 14%, somewhere around there. Might be a little higher, maybe a point lower, somewhere around there, but probably 14%. So, and it's all backed by either single family rehabs that we're doing, some apartment complexes we're looking at, and a few other types of real estate investment. So, I always tell you and I always preach about real estate and it being a hard asset. And I love assets where you could touch it, you could look at it, you could figure out what it's worth. And again, there's some complexities to that, but if you could do a little bit of research, you'll know if it's worth 200,000 or a million. It's not going to be well, I'm not quite sure. Is it 100,000 or 4 million dollars? You're going to know with just some basic research, and that's a good thing. It's very important that you know the valuation of real estate. And depending on the type of real estate, it's valued different ways. So single family houses is, very clear cut. It doesn't take a lot of research and knowledge, close personal knowledge of the house to determine the price. Now, obviously, you have to go in and see certain things, but holistically, you could get a general idea. And that's why I like real estate. Whereas I've said in the past, you have some of these companies which you could potentially invest in, and all of a sudden they're worthless. Now, obviously, if you stay with the big guys like Amazon and Facebook, things like that, you'll be fine. But when you start investing a lot of money, you start trying to diversify, and you hear of a so-called good deal, and you might invest money in it, and no matter how much the regulators try to control things, you could still have a company that's really worthless or not worth a lot, even though they give it a strong valuation. Case in point, I've talked about a company called Theranos, and right now, the individual that owned the company, the head of it, was Elizabeth Holmes. And I explained a couple months ago how she put this company together and then started touting it to all these individuals. It's a great company, and it had to do with getting samples of blood, and it just literally a drop of blood, and then they're able to do different types of tests on it and determine some issues, if there was an issue with the person, so on and so forth. It was a big scam, and it wasn't working, and it was all smoke and mirrors. And what happened was it became a snowball effect, and more people started jumping on it, and a lot of individuals that were had a lot of money. There were venture capital companies. There was individuals that just had a lot of money, and this is before the stock came out. I don't think there was any stock issued at the time, and it was crazy that all of a sudden one day it was worthless, and it was based on an article that was written, I think, by someone in Barron's. I think it is, and all of a sudden everybody was questioning it, and now the CEO, Elizabeth Holmes, she's on trial along with their husband, the CFO, and it's crazy. So you had very very smart individuals basically being taken to the cleaners. You had former U.S. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos. So she was under Trump administration. She was a very rich person, and what happened was her what's called a family office invested $100 million in this. It's worthless now. It's worthless. So individuals that are rich, or families that are rich, they establish it's like a corporation, and it's called a family office. And it's usually based on $100 million up. So if you have about $100 million in terms of assets and investments, you could basically create this corporation, and the money is put in there, and then you have individuals that invest for the family, and they invest in different types of like investments. They also look at succession planning. Succession planning is basically when certain people die, what's going to happen, and they handle this as to manage the family's finances. It does everything from health insurance, medical insurance, and they help manage the family's finances through this corporation. So she had a family office and they invested $100 million. Now it's worth nothing. So, because again, she couldn't touch it. She heard about it. She saw maybe some demonstrations that were really smoke and mirrors. And they said, this looks great. And it's got a lot of promise, and everybody's talking about it. And then all of a sudden, now it's worth nothing. So just always be wary of that. I'm very bullish on real estate. Doesn't matter when it is. If you buy it right, it's always good. I'm going to be bringing on some guests in the next month or so, and a couple of them invest in some large apartment complexes, as well as my SEC attorney, which is putting together one of my funds. So I'm gonna probably interview him. He's a great guy, as well as another individual's name's Sean Thompson, and he's doing some nice deals, and he's really doing a good job. So I think you'll really like listening to both of them, plus some other guests I'll bring in on as well. I'm going to have to break for a commercial break, and I'll be right back. And we're going to talk a little bit about Zillow and the $550 million they're going to lose. So I'll see you shortly. Bye.
Life can be a roller coaster, and sometimes you need to sell your house fast. That's why there's TemplarBuysHouses.com. Maybe you're downsizing, getting a divorce, having health or financial issues. If so, head to TemplarBuysHouses.com. TEMPLAR BuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com will buy your house quickly and without hassle. If you've inherited a house that is vacant, contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. Dealing with them is easy and quick. No high-pressure sales tactics, and you won't have to fix up the house. They will buy your house as is. You pick the closing date and when you move out. No commissions and no hassles. Contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. TEMPLAR BuysHouses.com with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Call 973-315-7990. That's 973-315-7990.
Be sure to listen to the podcast of the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. Find it now at TemplarBuysHouses.com.
Hello, welcome back to the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. My name is Joseph J. Zoppi, Managing Partner of Templar Real Estate Enterprises. You can reach us at 973-240-8593 or TemplarCashForHouses.com. That's TEMPLAR cashforhouses.com. It's one word. So before I talk about Zillow, I talked about it 2 weeks ago. I took off last week. It wasn't so much I took off. I was putting together the radio show, and I just wasn't comfortable with the content I was providing, and it just wasn't flowing. So I decided to skip that week. It just wasn't working. A big challenge is that when you're doing this by yourself, it's just on you. Now, if I had a second, like a partner, we could trade off each other, so it's not as bad and it's not as difficult. So a lot of times it's a lot harder when it's just me talking and recording. So I apologize, but as I said about 2 weeks ago, I'm having a joint venture with a builder. He's been building for 30 years, great guy, and we're going to be in the process of putting down 12 new homes, 2,700 square feet up near in Hamburg, right near Crystal Springs, where Vernon Valley used to be, all up there. So they're brand new construction. They're going to be really nice. And I would not be doing this if I did not feel very comfortable with the person I'm going to be partnering with, as well as the quality that we're going to put forth. And that's the biggest thing. My reputation is very, very big in terms of what I expect, and I do not want to ever tarnish that. And that's a big thing. So if you're interested, new construction, it's going to be approximately about an acre plus, new development. And like I said, 2,700 square feet, starts at 599, and it goes up from there in terms of what you want to add. You know, from hardwood floors to expanded decks. You know, you name it. If you want it done, we could do it. But they're going to be beautiful homes. And you know, one of the biggest things is that I wasn't doing a lot in Sussex County, but Sussex County's really taken off. Now, I had sold a house a while ago in Wantage, and I used to take the trip up there. I used to go through Sparta, you know, Route 15, and this was a few years ago. Again, I wasn't doing much in Sussex at the time. I haven't done until now. And you know, I drove up there when I was looking at the development, and it was unbelievable how much it's been built up. And you know, there's this huge shop, right? There's Starbucks. I was with someone the other day, and I was saying the same thing. And they said, "Whoops, Starbucks is there. You know, it's already built up. You know it is." And that's exactly it. And they have a beautiful new shop right there, right outside. It's right on 15, and they're building up so much there. A buddy of mine, he works 5 minutes from there, and he's been telling me how much construction's going on. So it's not you know, these what they call boondocks anymore or anything else like that. It's really built up, and it's, you know, these homes that we're building, it's like 10 minutes from there. So you're 10 minutes from ShopRite, which is great. And you're on a beautiful, complex with 1+ acres and brand new construction with warranties. So it's really good. You know, we always do, and I've talked about this all the time. When we do our rehabs, we do a great job with the rehabs, but there are always going to be little things wrong with that. It's not new construction. And, you know, for the small premium that you're paying for new construction, you just can't beat it. And it's very difficult to get new construction, you know, anywhere around here. But up there, we've got 12 lots. We have maybe possibility of a few more lots. And if you're interested, please give me a call. We'll go up there, we'll take a look, we'll walk the lot, and I'll show you the plans and everything. But you know, like I said, 2,700 square feet, starts at 599, and we're very excited about jumping into this endeavor. So the next thing I'd like to talk about is Zillow. So as an investor, you know, there's like this love-hate relationship with Zillow. Now, I used to like the Zillow app a lot better because it had more features. But, you know, if someone calls me, I could pull it up very quickly. I have MLS access, but Zillow is very streamlined in terms of, you know, just researching something very quickly. You know, if I want more detailed information, I'll use the MLS and its app. But a super quick, down and dirty way, I go into Zillow. Now, that's the good part. Now, the bad part is this Zestimate. And I've talked about this numerous times, that individuals think their house is worth based on what the Zestimate says. And so many investors, so many agents just hate that. It's just hate it because it's not really true. So, we backtrack a little bit. Now, Zillow is a company that sells, first of all, leads for real estate agents. That's how they make a lot of their money. They do it through advertisement, just like Google does. Google makes a lot of their money through advertisement. Now, there's another part that they do is they buy houses, and they're considered what's called an iBuyer. And there's a number of iBuyers out there, and Zillow is one of them. So what iBuyers do is they will buy your house. Now they're not, I won't say national per se, because they don't cover every area within the country. New Jersey, they don't really cover. And these other iBuyers, most of them do not cover that. And, they handle the Midwest. They'll do California, parts of California. They'll do South, like Arizona. They love Texas. And, then they like North Carolina, South Carolina, a few others. But for the Northeast, they're not too big on that. Again, you might get some, but they don't always buy your house. They'll represent you like an agent. They do these marketing spins, but they're really not buying the house. So what happened was, they have these different algorithms that determine what this estimate is. And they started buying houses, I think it was 4 years ago, and they've picked up a lot of steam, and they were buying more and more houses, and then pandemic came around, and then all of a sudden, things started getting crazy, and the valuations on homes were really picking up, and they started buying more houses. And one of the biggest things about houses is you really can't, every one is unique, and the neighborhoods are unique, and you could determine certain things by the neighborhoods. But one of the things with these algorithms is they try to project forward in terms of what the house price is going to be. And they were making money, or maybe some money, I'm not quite sure. But now all of a sudden there's a reckoning where they're going to be losing over the next 2 quarters about $550 million, because they're buying these houses very, very expensively, like at Zestimate call, I think Zestimate price, or maybe a little below it. And they're trying to fix them up. So they have to hire all these contractors, and then they got to put it back on the market, and it's just not working. And it's really funny, because I have, as I've said before, a lot of investor friends throughout the country, and the ones that are in areas where these iBuyers are really big, like California and Arizona and Texas, and they used to always complain about them. And we used to talk about, I don't know how these guys are making any money, and especially most recently in the last 2 years we were talking about this. And some of the investors, what they would do is they would buy a house, fix it up, or not even fix it up, and then sell it back to Zillow or one of these iBuyers and make a lot of money and then walk away with it. And then some of the iBuyers said, well, we're not going to buy from investors, because they knew they were helping the investors along. So, the investors would say they're not investors, or whatever the case may be. But a lot of the individuals I know were salivating with some of these iBuyers to sell directly to them. And I was looking myself if there was any in Jersey that I could pick it up and just turn it over to them and make some money, quick cash off of it. But it's right now they are going to cut about 25% of their staff, and they're hurting a little bit. And the big thing is now everybody's looking at what's going to happen with the other iBuyers. And it's very, very difficult. And again, I've said this numerous times with stock trading, is that everybody's Warren Buffett or the best trader is when the market's always going up. So the market continues to go up, you trade, you come out of a trade, you go in, you're making more money, you're making more money. that doesn't mean anything. It's when the market doesn't go up anymore, whether you're a good trader or not. And same thing with real estate. When real estate's always going up, yeah, it's easy. But what happens when it's not? I was meeting with a close friend of mine. He was a hard money lender, and he still is. I haven't borrowed from him in, I don't know, like 7 years. But I met with him because we might do a couple things together down in Newark from a joint venture perspective. And he was saying the same thing, that these individuals would come in, say, these investors say, oh, I got this deal. And he says, it's not a deal. You're only going to make about $13,000 on it. I really wouldn't do it. He goes, no, I want to do it. And, based on where they see the valuation of the house, they'll say it's this. Now, they've been wrong over the last year or so because the price have gone up so much, but they'd rather be wrong that way than the other way. But they're saying the same thing, is that, one day it's just not going to go up. And these individuals are buying based on an appreciation of 20% or whatever the appreciation they might think it is, 15 or whatever. And that's not the way to buy if you're going to be a flipper. You don't buy that way. So, I've said, unfortunately, but it's going to thin out the herd. Just like with Zillow. I hate to see the people leave, get terminated from Zillow or any of these other companies potentially. I hate to see that, but it's going to thin out the herd because they're buying at valuations that are too expensive. And by the time they rehab it and everything else, they're upside down. It takes a lot to rehab it, to manage the contractors and everything else associated with it. And that's not something that you just do by using algorithms and everything else and go in and, just purchase it. So, the question becomes, is it the algorithm or is it the leaders? It's the leaders. No matter what the algorithm says, the model, I never liked that model. And a lot of the investors I know that are really good and rock solid, they say the same thing. You just can't do it that way. It's always looking at the appreciation of it, and you can't. So we shall see, and I'll keep an eye on it and update everyone on it. But that's the problem. So unfortunately, I got to close out today. Again, if you want and looking for in Sussex County some new construction, please give me a call. I'd be more than happy to take you, show you the plans, and just go over everything with you. I think you'll be very, very pleased with it. Again, if you want to sell your house either through the multiple listing service or with the cash offer, please give us a call. Be very happy to talk to you. My staff is great, and I'm very pleased with them. They're rock stars, and I think you'd be very happy. Again, reach us at 973-240-8593. Again, that's 973-240-8593 or TemplarCashForHouses.com. Thank you, everyone. Take care of your family. God bless, and I'll talk to you next week.
Life can be a roller coaster, and sometimes you need to sell your house fast. That's why there's TemplarBuysHouses.com. Maybe you're downsizing, getting a divorce, having health or financial issues. If so, head to TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com will buy your house quickly and without hassle. If you've inherited a house that is vacant, contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. Dealing with them is easy and quick. No high-pressure sales tactics, and you won't have to fix up the house. They will buy your house as is. You pick the closing date and when you move out. No commissions and no hassles. Contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Call 973-315-7990. That's 973-315-7990.
Be sure to listen to the podcast of the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. Find it now at TemplarBuysHouses.com.
The preceding program was paid for by Templar Real Estate. The views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WMTR. As always, it is advisable to consult a professional before